Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Under the Ledger podcast. I'm Charlie, and I'll be hosting the podcast today while Alex sits in the background and assists with the setup. And I've got Oscar with us today from Ledgerowl. He's one of our clients, but also does a lot of bookkeeping work for a lot of our clients. Hello, Oscar.
Charlie.
How are you?
Not too bad, mate. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Thanks for coming in all the way from Indonesia for this podcast. I know it wasn't just for the podcast. Yeah. So how was the flight in? How was everything?
No, it's good. But obviously, Indonesia's always hot, or Jakarta's always hot.
Yeah,
Coming back to Sydney when it's winter,
exactly.
change of scenery, change of season. So be good.
Yeah, I was telling the other guys that were complaining, oh, it's a bit cold, but I'm like, it's not as cold it's been in the last few years.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's actually warm for a winter. I know we've had a couple
I
of
wasn't here for last week.
Yeah, I know. But it's just, it's been okay. It hasn't been too cold. I've enjoyed this winter. Usually I'm, freezing to death.
Well, I'm wearing 3 layers today, so take them off.
All right, Oscar. So, tell us a bit about yourself and, your humble beginnings, Kingsgrove North High, all the way through to, this large bookkeeping practice that runs in Australia, Singapore, Indonesia, all over the place.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'd love to hear the story.
Sure. Yeah, I'm obviously a Sydney boy. Born and bred West Sydney. Went to Kingsgrove North, as Charlie rightly said. I did my accounting degree over here at Western Sydney. CPA, worked in corporate. Firstly, starting off, doing accounting, shared services for 10 years. Then I moved over to the software space, consulting, sales, you name it, support even. And then moving to Jakarta now, joining with 2 other guys, 2 of our partners, Ledgerowl with Ray and Adrian. So yeah, we base ourselves out of Jakarta. As you rightly said, we've got clients over in Singapore, Indonesia, and obviously Australia. Thanks to WLM's also help in helping us scale. But we want to scale more with the new introduction of where bookkeeping is heading. We've seen there's a space that we can sort of not disrupt, but provides added value.
Yeah. And so obviously Ledgerowl is a bookkeeping practice, but from our experience down over the last, few years, it's not just a bookkeeping practice. You guys are heavily involved in the AI space. So maybe just tell us a bit about what Ledgerowl does and what that means from an AI perspective and how it all gets incorporated, because obviously it's traditional bookkeeping, but not in a traditional way.
Yep.
So yeah, maybe give us a bit of background and context about how Ledgerowl manages that, and the human interaction, AI, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. So in everyone's tip of their tongue, the 2 big letters, AI, artificial intelligence. We started Ledgerowl back in 2019, actually, with Ray, who's the co-founder. While we started in Indonesia, 96% of the economics in there is small to medium businesses, small to medium enterprises, and the unstructured data that you find over in Indonesia made it right, because everyone needs financial reports, financial statements, especially moving it down the line where you can look at strategically, analytically, and also from a compliance perspective. So we developed in Indonesia, starting off as what Charlie rightly said was a bookkeeping practice, but we just saw the repetitiveness of tasks within the bookkeeping space, where it's right when AI did come about, starting with ChatGPT. Then now you're moving into Claude, which is crazy. But then you got all these other ones coming through also. So I think the key sort of scenario is what we see is bookkeeping or accounting has traditionally been done very manual. And we just saw, okay, there's elements in the bookkeeping space whereby it's right to automate, such as reconciliation, looking at sort of trends, transactional history, helping out, whereby then from a data perspective, you're going to get that right. So you still have that human in the loop, but then it's going to be useful for future professionals to then engage with their customers or clients once they get that all right, because that's your basis at the end of the day. So we've been helping food and beverages with multiple locations who've had manual reconciliations where they've been doing traditionally on spreadsheets. Now we've implemented our tool to help that for them to progress so they can look at their revenues a lot quicker. Finance managers doesn't have to work over the weekend and think, okay, damn, I've got reports to the board that I need to make. So these are the sort of helpful things that we're trying to sort of increase the value of your traditional sort of work in the back office.
Yeah, I think the worst thing that we can still keep doing is these mundane, repetitive tasks that don't really add any value to a business or to the accounts team or to the business owners. And these sorts of tasks should really be automated. And obviously, as technology changes, businesses change, their needs change. So I honestly think it's important that, this thing is adopted so that people aren't stuck doing these repetitive tasks that can be outsourced automatically so that the data actually can be focused on and given meaning to, because business owners want meaning in their data. Exactly. They don't want to sit there spending, $1,000 or whatever it is a month, or $2,000 or maybe $10,000, depending on how big they are, just for someone to process transactions and get it done, rather than having the transactions done and focusing the rest of the time on interpreting that data, making it make sense, building a vision for the future through forecasting, all that sort of stuff. So it definitely makes sense to me. And I think there needs to be a point where people realize, okay, we've got to be serious about adopting this into our business. We've got to work with our providers to have the data automated so that the data can give more meaning. We've got to reduce costs on simply processing transactions and use that money to build the system in place so that the transactions are ready to go. And we're spending now that time and effort on understanding the data and interpreting the data, because that's really the most valuable thing for these business owners, especially when they're forecasting, for example.
Agree.
Yeah.
I think that's true. Like, you're going to get small and medium businesses think, okay, what is this AI? How is it helping me? Let's just use a scenario. Like, you got a bunch of receipts and then your accountant's trying to ask you multiple times, what is this for? Now, I think with the introduction of AI, we've got use cases whereby you throw in a receipt for the first time, it trains the logic of it. Then any subsequent receipts coming through, it will know exactly what you've spent it through based on, I guess, where this is moving towards. So in terms of getting your data clean, then your account won't be sort of saying, okay, what's this for? What's this for? Have you got this? Have you got that? It should all be automated going forward from that. Then you got your accountants that you will be providing the value is where you'll be paying for that cost effectively at the end of the day, which is, getting you to that stage, just going back to your point, analytical, strategic. Okay, where can I do better? Is it time for me to move certain things around to improve my business? And also so the advisory side of things.
Yeah. So I guess the real thing is AI is here whether we like it or not. And like most things that cause disruption or sudden change, it feels like it just hits us all of a sudden. AI is here now. We had the .com crash. We had all sorts of technological advances over the last few decades. And it just seems to come out of nowhere and we feel a bit blindsided by it. But personally, I don't think that people should be worried by it. They should use it as something that complements their business. And it's funny, one example that I saw someone speak about was, post-industrial or during the Industrial Revolution, there were people, hundreds and hundreds of people sitting in a factory writing out numbers and doing calculations. And when the computers came out, all of a sudden these jobs became obsolete and people were like, look, technology is going to ruin us. It's going to ruin the economy, etc. But in fact, it created different jobs and it expanded the opportunity for businesses to make money globally, domestically and all over the place. It was a far bigger reach. And, it's now business as usual having computers. And I know it's a big hit. It might feel like a smack to the face all of a sudden, but I do think that in a few years' time, when people adapt, there will be more opportunities. I mean, what are your thoughts?
I 100% agree. Let's take it this way. When I guess maybe I'm a bit older than you, Charlie, but when I started off in accounting, the first thing I needed to do was data entry. right? Now, to be honest, you're going to get generations flowing through, looking at their career and say, why am I spending this time doing data entry when there's new technology that can help me out? So they're evolving their skills, but I guess we need to catch up from not being scared of it to also catch up with that generation, right? At the end of the day.
Yeah.
So from there, it's what I sort of say to, let's say, probably not the business owners, but the professionals or the young professionals these days. There's certain elements that you need to take a look at in your profession these days. Yes, accounting being a very traditional sort of industry, but work on your communication skills, work on your technical skills, work on your technology skills, and that involves playing with AI at the end of the day. Okay, there's so many tools out there. It's just about learning to understand how to factor that in. So the changes that are being seen now will affect a generation. And you rightly said, there'll be new jobs being created because those traditional jobs, no one may take anymore, right? Exactly. If I was there for 3 years data entering, now like, what's my career progression from that going forward?
Yeah, I think there'll definitely be new opportunities for bookkeepers, for accountants. We might go from a certain type of processing role to a more advisory and analytical role. So, I mean, it's not an elimination. It's just an evolution, like you've kind of mentioned. So I definitely agree with that. And I guess speaking of evolution, I mean, the accounting industry has changed substantially over the last, several decades, but more prominently in the last maybe 2 decades. And so initially we had very antiquated, if you like to call it that, systems that were very reliant on people putting in those entries and doing things very manually. And I remember when I, started in public practice all those years ago, it was a very, very slow process. And then all of a sudden something like BankLink came in. For those who are running businesses that might have used BankLink, I mean, it was a game changer. You were able to connect your bank account to this software and have the data come in automatically. And what was taking people 4 or 5 hours to reconcile these transactions took maybe 3 or 4 minutes.
Yeah.
And then from there, Xero kind of tacked onto this idea and integrated it into their system. And then all of a sudden, the data was able to be turned into profit and loss statements, balance sheets, and all sorts of stuff. And now we're sitting here in 2026 and we've got Claude. So it's kind of like a food chain. You've got, your BankLink being eaten by Xero, being eaten by Claude. And I think, there's just going to be that constant evolution in that software to make things faster, more easier to predict data, to predict information, to generate the information we need. And I feel like at the moment, it does look like it's limitless where things can go. What are your thoughts? Are we in that sort of food chain where we're constantly progressing with the AI and it's going to, progress to something that's going to make life easier for business owners? Is it going to make it harder because people are going to lose job? Where's your head at?
Yeah. With all that sort of process of processing, let's call it, getting automated, from a transactional perspective, you see how it's helped out, right? Now, if we stop to think, okay, if the accounting industry is using AI, every other industry is using AI, why don't let's think about, let's call it the ATO are probably using AI now to also look at the compliance side of things, right?
Definitely.
So it's making them quicker to ascertain,
react.
Exactly, to react. So it's good and bad, but with this open technology, everyone's using it. All right, so we got to have to adapt to it. Now, for business owners, they got to start thinking about also, now, they might be, sorry to quote this, but they might be able to hide certain things prior. But now with the interlinked of everything, like even Uber receipts, you got all these other systems that tag into, like payroll, for example, is tagged to the ATO straight away now. So we've got to consider this for business owners that let's get compliant. To get compliant, get your data right. Once you get your data right, it flows through and help out, your accountants to make sure they report correctly to what you needed to do. Yeah.
I mean, some business owners kind of are worried, I guess, to that point, are worried that the government might become this big brother that is all seeing and all knowing, and we kind of, reporting to these overlords, so to speak, because everything's just visible now to them. But I mean, that's where good bookkeeping and good accounting will come hand in hand because, okay, if everything is reported, everything's done correctly, where the advice piece comes in is using us as advisors to be able to review, analyze, restructure, do things that will allow you to have a better financial situation based on the information that we have. And using our role, not just simply bogged down in processing transactions, but our role gets developed and becomes one of a stronger advisor as a business partner with you, like a silent business partner and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, Big Brother is watching, but I mean, you've got that same level of oversight as well, and you know what's coming before it comes now because of AI. You know what's ready there waiting for you.
It's true.
But you're right, we are seeing with the ATO, they are becoming more proactive, let's call it, with following things up, asking questions because they probably are using AI. But I mean, we are using AI to be on the front foot as well with that at the same time. So it does come hand in hand.
Yeah, I agree. I think the other point is with certain businesses these days, working capital might be easy, might be not, especially with the downturn in the economy. All right. Now, to have proper books, now we've seen that from our perspective, our cases, where we manage clients or customers where they don't have proper books, they can't go out to get a loan from the bank because, they can't even understand what's in there, let alone, give you money to use that. Another thing that we see is, in terms of having proper books, especially if you've got a partnership structure, you want your partners to not fight. So we come in from what we see is, to get your books clean a lot faster is, you still have your accountant there to advise you on certain things, but it's actually the collecting of the data. But then they know, at least from a book's perspective, it's all clean. So then partners can agree on certain things, what moves, where things need to move, what help is required to get a compliant. So there's no sort of and ahhing after that because at least the books are clean from that side of things.
Yeah. And so I guess with the AI and with the rise of the, integration with automating things and getting things done, there are obviously situations where, there's the funny side of AI, let's call it, where the mistakes can pop up. And one example that, we were chatting about earlier, which I had a chat with someone else about, was being heavily reliant on AI. One example was a funny video that I saw online where someone basically prepared a speech inside of the AI and it was introducing someone else, and it was like, "Hi everyone, I'd like to introduce first name." And rather than, proofreading and updating the first name and saying the words, that just kind of blindly followed the AI, which, can cause a really, really serious and detrimental problem as well. And obviously that blind allegiance to the AI is not what we want anyone to do, and it can be a bit tempting. But I know when we were younger, for example, when we used to have to do assignments at school or university, with the rise of Wikipedia, we were always told, don't rely on Wikipedia. It's just information that has gone in there that might not have been fact checked.
Yeah.
So it's always important not to have that blind allegiance. And I know it's very tempting to fall into it. And do you kind of see that happening in bookkeeping as well from your perspective? Because I can definitely see it when we get an end result and we're giving a piece of advice, for example. We don't just simply ask the AI software, okay, this is the question, here's the answer, copy paste. Has to be that deeper dive, there has to be an understanding of the topic to be able to see if the AI is giving you the right information and not just giving you a piece of advice that is based on, a very brief question. You're asking a question, you're prompting, can you review this piece of information? Let me know if I've missed something, for example, rather than that blind allegiance where you rely on it too much and you end up having wrong information.
Yeah, that's true. I think AI is there to help, not be your God and Savior. The result that you're going to do nothing right at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Your examples, I think, is very perfect. Like, you're not reviewing it, so you still need that review focus. And I'll give you even a funnier example. What we see, what we notice. So looking back, like, there's a transaction, right? There's an invoice. Now we receive an invoice. There's multiple line items. Now they use POs and project codes as an example. Now, for example, let's say there's project 38, number 38, and there's PO 38. AI is probably gonna say, okay, it's gonna be project 38. It's close enough. Now, that can be a detrimental effect if I apply it to project 38 then PO 38. because it might be a project that's that PO is probably related to another project associated with that. So AI will give you that data sort of in a repetitive of getting that data in, but there still needs a level of understanding from a human perspective to just do a final review. Okay, does that make sense? It does make sense, right? So that's the sort of key important to get that information right, because that can affect your bottom line if it does get posted at the end of the day. So you don't want to push that automatically, because I was going to say, okay, I found 38. I'm just going to push it. and then you go, oh, yeah, and you know, at the end of the day, that's wrong or incorrect. So the element of helping AI helping you is there, but don't take it as the sort of grace that you have to use what AI says. All right.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I mean, I guess leading on from that, where do you kind of see bookkeeping to be in the next 5 years, let's say, with the rise of Claude? Because the thing is, the reason why I ask is the AI is it's developing in such a rapid pace that it's just mind blowing.
Mm.
And I guess, yeah, where do you see bookkeeping in the next 5 years?
Yeah. It's going to change a lot. Like, you'll be surprised, when you spoke about bank leak, bank feed and all that. Certain countries, they still don't have that, to be honest.
Wow.
So we've built tools to help along with that to mimic what we do have in Australia. But in terms of the bookkeeping, I think the model changed a lot. You're going to have to think about it this way. The traditional way of, say, let's call it the BPO, all right, is one sense where you get a group of people and you're charging hourly rates, but now it should be outcome based at the end of the day, right? So, because that's what bookkeeping is, it's outcome. Okay, you're going to get this set of data each month, push it through, and that's where. And then, but you still have that human in the loop, though. So the value chain of that person would have a bit more time now to then take a look at, okay, where can I go to next? Instead of just being in bookkeeper, okay, I probably can get to the next level, manage clients' expectations, look at the analytics associated with, okay, what else can I build off this from there? So I think the model will flip in terms of how getting the data in and what the outcomes would be, because technically it should be the same. You can't get away from debits and credits, as you should know. But it's the elements outside of it will probably change.
Yeah. Do you know, in Australia, where I think from my own perspective, where bookkeeping will rapidly change as well, and where I feel like it will become more important for someone like you is, and you touched on this before, is dealing with the government. And the reason why I say that is you saw perfectly the examples where you and I and Morella have been dealing with clients for the same day super.
Yep.
I mean, the rapidness of information that the ATO has now and is expecting us to act upon just goes to show how important it is to be up to date with your bookkeeping. If you're doing a weekly pay run, you've got 7 days from the payment of that pay run to make your super contributions. You touched on this as well with the banks, with the new AML laws, with the more, scrutinized reporting that is required from bookkeepers, accountants, lawyers, etc. It's going to be more important than ever that we have timely and accurate information and that we can give advice to these clients as we go. Sometimes it's easier to talk to your bookkeeper and say, okay, let's run this information, put these journals in, and be able to report to the government, report to the banks, keep up on top of our new reporting requirements. And I think that's where bookkeeping is really gonna shine in the next 5 years. So that's from my perspective how I see it's going to be. But not only that, even with the accounting industry, it's just going to be hand in hand with bookkeeping. I mean, where our role is going to change dramatically. At the moment, clients have a heavy reliance on us getting the compliance work done, including tax returns, BASs, annual reporting for STP, all that sort of stuff that potentially might not be here in the next 5 years.
Yeah.
It's some stuff that might be shifted to bookkeepers to process automatically through software like Xero, through integration of Claude, etc. So the accountant's role, as we see it, will change. We'll become heavily involved in advisory. We will be focused on giving more pertinent advice to things like structuring and analytics to analyze the data that's readily available for us to give clients a better overview on their business and to advise more on the business side of things, not just simply processing compliance, getting a tax return done and getting paid for that. No, the service is going to extend far beyond that, and clients are going to expect more value through these added services because of the fact that the AI is doing most of the pre-legwork. So that's where I think our role is going to change.
Yeah.
And I think that data is going to become so valuable. The more it becomes available, the more people want it, whether it's a marketing agency or any, the banks, reporting agencies. There's more scrutiny with the governments, with the banks, and even people that are chasing after business. That data is going to become so much more valuable.
Yeah. So I guess going back to your point, Charlie, like, I don't know, this quote me, there's no right or wrong answer, right? There's cash. Let's take it to the basics again. Cash and accrual. Now, do you see many still doing cash accounting? Maybe here and there, but you see a lot more moving towards the accrual space, especially the more, I guess, where your business is at that point in time, right? Now, probably talking again too much accounting gibberish for small business owners, but the effects of prepayments and accruals can also change where your analytics of your business would be. Now, prior to that, from my experience, I had to manually look at every single line. Okay, does this cost or revenue doesn't make sense? Do I need to push that out? It's not part of my forecast. Now, with the introduction of AI, that helps a lot because, things can now be straight line correctly. Especially if you got numbers, okay, that doesn't make sense from historical. Why have you raised this? There's a pattern towards it that helps. And that would help your accountant also, because then it moves away that layer where they have to worry about, okay, what still needs to be straight line, amortized and all that. Whereas tools now are building towards that side of things and then helping you look at your tax compliance side of things. And okay, I need a loan. Okay, this is my revenue. I've forecasted this out, or I've straight lined this out from a revenue recognition perspective. And that's where these tools will help going forward.
Exactly. People want to know not just the cash in and out, but when is the cash from debtors coming in? When is the cash for payables going out? When do we have to make this prepayment for stock? Yeah, all that sort of stuff I definitely agree with. And the fact that people are spending hours and hours doing it where the AI can do it automatically through APIs and connections through the software is really going to give these clients rapid, timely, and meaningful information. And I think they really need. So that's, I think, very, very important. And I think people shouldn't underestimate the strength of using AI to be able to generate this stuff and using AI as a partner to your business to allow you to get that data more expedient, faster coming in here. So
I think you touch on the point also, like, when some business, like take a look at businesses where I'm profitable. Okay, I'm profitable, I'm booking all this revenue. But then you look at the debtors position, cash hasn't come in at all.
Exactly.
And it's in the balance sheet, right? A lot of the owners that focus primarily on the P&L. So with that, you could start helping, okay, what are the patterns of these clients paying you on time, your clients paying you on time? So you can use that with tools associated with that to help out, okay, to get that cash back in, right? Because that's important. And as you mentioned, cash flow, forecasting, payable forecasting. I can, leave this invoice, I'll pay it later because I've got time or whatever. So you don't have to then, look at your cash from that side of things to continuously run your business.
Yeah. All right. So I've got some quick fire questions for you, Oscar. True or false? AI will eliminate bookkeeping.
Very good question. I see it all around LinkedIn, right? It's like, no. I still think you still need good professionals. Let's bracket it all into professionals, right? Because there are limitations to AI. It's not the end of be all. Yes, it works for certain scenarios, like from a I've used previously like I incorrectly applied the wrong shipping address, and I quickly went on their chat portal, and I knew it was AI because it was asking me questions that seemed like it. That's a good use case for AI, right? Because it's prompting you to answer it for you. Now that's just repetitiveness in terms of getting a question and answer, whereas in bookkeeping, there's elements where it needs reason. Now AI can't do that reason yet. So that's why the element of having still humans in the loop, is probably what we call it, is still valuable to have around. Like they still need to make decisions on example what I mentioned earlier about incorrectly recognizing a PO when it should be part of a project. So these things will help cleanse out the data. But the profession will change. Like, or why I probably look at you're moving up the value chain. Like, juniors will probably be trained a lot quicker. There's information out there that can help them out. Okay, they then become seniors a lot quicker and providing more value to the customers, right? At the end of the day, and then be more client facing, which is what you want this profession to be.
No, I definitely agree. I just can't see a world without bookkeeping.
Yeah.
But I cannot see a world with the current bookkeeping as it is. I agree that AI will come in and the role of the bookkeeper will change to a more data analytical role that will allow the business owner to have more timely information more accurately. And like you said, it's easy to make human mistakes, but it's the AI will learn and won't make those mistakes again once you teach it and set up those rules ready to go.
Yeah.
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 All right. AI makes mistakes. True or false?
True. Still true.
But humans make mistakes too.
Exactly. No, I 100% agree. Humans probably aren't prone to mistakes at the end of the day. So humans aren't prone to mistakes. Machines aren't prone to mistakes either.
No, we never make mistakes also.
I wish I could say that. But is AI prone to mistakes? Yeah. Yes, it has this, people always say it probably has its own mind. And the good thing about the industry is because certain tasks are repetitive, that's what we're trying to unravel, right? It's the repetitive side of the task that we're trying to apply AI to. Now, over time, probably that won't make mistakes in that. But if you try to put AI into trying to reason with certain analytics and stuff like that, and trying to interpret that to communicate that back to your clients, now I don't think it will. That requires a still human intervention to help you with that, to actually explain it in plain language. Okay, this is what it means.
Yeah, definitely agree. Yeah. All right. Last quick fire question. AI will replace accountants.
No, it won't replace accountants. And why I say that, accountants are valuable in that sense, right? They're, going back to your point, they're like a partner to a business, which is, having an external partner if they're not part of the business. There's always rules changing, especially around tax, AML, scenarios on what the right decisions structure-wise from a company perspective, which you and I talked about.
Exactly.
Between us. So accountants will still be valuable, but more. So you're getting them out of having to do the digging, the data entry, the reconciliations, all that manual processing stuff. Then you are getting clients. Well, you're giving them back time is one. You're getting clients information a lot quicker because you do have time, and you're not going to get bored because you don't have to be stuck at night trying to reconcile all that.
Yeah, 100% agree. I do feel like the AI will change our role completely. We can't be solely reliant on just doing compliance, processing tax returns, and then that's it, the job's done. Our role will eventually change to something that along the lines of being an advisor, interpreting the data and giving meaningful information and analysis to business owners, working side by side more with business owners and taking them along the journey so that businesses can grow. It isn't purely just get the compliance done.
Yeah.
And that's definitely going to change in at least the next 5 years, I believe. And not only that, even though the role will change, there are certain things that AI can't replace with accountants. Building trust, building relationships, empathy, all that sort of stuff that is required by accountants to be able to do the job efficiently and effectively in a trustworthy manner with clients. So yes, AI will change our jobs, but it won't be for the detriment of the accountant or the business owner. It just reshapes the way the industry will be because it's going to reshape the way businesses are going to be. Businesses are going to change and evolve.
Yeah.
And the example that I gave you at the start about the people sitting in the factory writing out formulas and doing stuff that got replaced. I mean, the crux of the business that they're working for hasn't really changed. It's just evolved. Different roles get opened up, old roles get eliminated, but the overall sense of what's happening with the business hasn't changed. It's just evolved into a different form, still producing the same level of output. And the advisors working for those businesses just need to adapt and continue.
Yeah. Now, I think going back to your point, like if business, like everyone's talking about certain tools now trying to replace accountants. this is beyond like thing. But if business owners think, okay, I'm not going to have to pay for an account anymore, I can just throw this into AI and it'll produce me X, Y, Z. I think they're going about the wrong way. Going back to your point about trust, the connection, the speed of data that your accountant can help you with going forward, especially if the ATO starts deciding left, right, and center, because they're using technology at the end of the day anyway to get things up to speed, right? That's the core value that businesses should still see, is that your accountant is in there to help you out and not for you to completely trust, put everything into, this can do your whole compliance, your reporting at the end of the day. Yeah. And the other point to that is your accountant can be your friend also. Like, well, what I mean by that is what we had in cases of our clients, they can help refer different businesses. So think of it from that side of things. Okay, I know you as a mowing customer, you do gardens. Okay, there's relationships that could be built off that and go back to your relationship and trust sort of scenarios.
Exactly.
So use that factor, to not just think about accountants not needed anymore. They're just back office. I could throw everything into the system.
Yeah.
I'm going to get my report the same as what Charlie used to produce to me. No, that doesn't work that way.
Yeah, I agree. Well, it's been a real pleasure, Oscar. It's been really good.
Thanks, Charlie.
Thanks for coming in, and I know we'll definitely do this again in the near future.
Sure.
It was a pleasure.
Thanks, Charlie.
All right. Thanks, everyone.